we are going to talk about something different. It will be something very important, and I hope it will also be something that's relatable to anyone who watches this video. So for today, I'm going to talk about my experience and my review of the MBA program offered by the University of Cebu. So if you want to know more about my experience and what I think about the program so far, please keep on watching. I firmly believe in the saying that learning is a continuous process. Thus, it has been one of my life goals to take up a master's degree right after I finish my 4-year degree course. Right after graduating, I immediately started working. Because of the demands of the work and also with time constraints, I was not able to stay in line with my plans, which is to take up a master's degree right after my 4-year course. So after 5 years of working, I am now in a more stable job, and I am now in a place where I have more control with my time. So I have decided to actually pursue my plan of taking up a master's degree course. So the next question is, why take up a master's degree from the University of Cebu? Well, honestly, I did not arrive right away with the decision of taking up a master's degree from the University of Cebu. Rather, I have 3 requirements that needs to be met so in order for me to actually take up the master's degree. The 3 requirements are: first, it should be strategically located. Second, it should be budget friendly. And third, course offer should be preferable to my available time. And successfully, the Universities of Cebu have met all those criteria. First, University of Cebu is strategically located. So, to be specific, I am enrolled with the master's degree program of the University of Cebu in Lapu-Lapu and Mandaue campus. So, in short, it is called the University of Cebu, Lapu-Lapu and Mandaue, or UCLM. So, I am living and working in the Lapu-Lapu City area. Thus, UCLM is a really convenient location in order for me to take up the course. So, it is near my workplace and near my home address. So, it is more convenient for me to travel to and from home to school and vice versa. And second, the MBA program of the University of Cebu is very budget friendly. For a semester of 12 units, I paid around 15,000 pesos. So that itself is actually a very affordable tuition fee for a master's degree. The third requirement is that the course program should be offered in a time that's very convenient or preferable to my available time. Schedule that I actually chose for my studies happens every Saturday, whole day. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So Saturday is actually my rest day, so it's very convenient for me to spend an entire Saturday in school. So now let's talk about my experience so far with the University of Cebu's MBA program. So let's talk about how I found out about the course and what was the process of enrollment and with the admission. I decided to actually pay a visit to the university itself. So upon arriving at UC Main, I then proceeded to the graduate school department. So after gathering all my requirements, I then proceeded to the University of Cebu main campus, and I was ready to actually take up my entrance exam. So honestly, I was a bit shocked or mura akong nabaguhan because I was expecting the normal IQ exam, and it's just been a long time since I've had my entrance exam from the Cebu Normal University. So I went there. I already went to the guidance counselor. I went there at around 7:30, and I had to wait until 8 in the morning because they said the schedule is 8 in the morning. So okay, fine. And so I was really expecting that the exam will only take about an hour or two. Well, surprise, surprise. The exam actually took me around 4 hours because I started around 8:30 and I finished around 12 noon. And I was not prepared at all. I was not prepared. I was shocked because the exam itself, it was like a refresher for me, and I was not expecting to actually answer many booklets. Like I was not even sure if I could make it, if I could answer everything within the time given for each topic. Or I wasn't even able to eat my breakfast because I was thinking, oh, the entrance exam will just take around say 1 hour, and after that I'll just take my breakfast. But no, I was very wrong. The exam took me 4 hours, and honestly I learned a lesson. Once they say it's an entrance exam, you better drink your coffee first, you better eat your breakfast first, and you better review the night before, even if it's just for an IQ exam, because it's going to be a long exam. Expect a really long exam when they say it's an entrance exam, especially for an educational institution. So right after my entrance exam, I was then given the schedule for the enrollment, as well as the schedule for the releasing of schedules. I took my entrance exam around March, and then I went back around May for the enrollment and the schedule. In the process of admission and enrollment, I then proceeded with plotting my schedule. So I plotted schedules for all Saturdays of the first semester. So I plotted block 1 and block 2, and then after that I went to the cashier, paid my enrollment fee, as well as 50% of the entire course fee. So I just went through the normal process of enrollment. I had my assessment slip, as well as I had my study loan. So it's really a refresher for me because it's been 5 years since the last time that I actually had my own study loan from my previous university. So that's my study load, and then some receipts, and then I also had my schedules of classes. And then after that, I was also able to process my ID. So what I really like about it is that I was able to have my photo taken and my ID processed the same day. So it's like job application, 1-day processing, usually done in the BPO industry. So here's my University of Cebu graduate school ID. So as you can see here, okay. So don't mind my face because I was really stressed out during that day. I spent the entire day at the school, and I was in a rush. So yeah, I'm very proud of this one because this is a symbol that I actually am pursuing a life goal. We are now arriving to the nitty-gritty part of this video, which is the pros and cons of the MBA program offered by the University of Cebu. First, let's talk about the pros or the advantages of the MBA program of the University of Cebu based on my experience. So first, it's very affordable. Second, it's a convenient location for me. And then third, the schedule itself is very preferable and convenient to my free time. And so another advantage is that the curriculum and the mode of teaching pushes the students to do good research, since most of the learning is done via self-study. So that's what I actually noticed when the class started. If we try to remember, during our college days, we are used to mode of instruction wherein we are given a set of instructions, and then this is what we're going to do, and then this is what we're going to pass. And also we are really used to having the presence of an instructor doing all the discussion, and he's the one who actually is moderating the class, which is true. There's still an instructor, but what's the big difference is that they are not the ones who actually does the discussion. Instead, what they do is they give out topics to the students, us, and we are the ones who actually do the research. We are the ones who study the topic, and it's our responsibility to discuss the topic to the class. So it's in a way a big responsibility for the reporter to make sure that the topic is well discussed and the topic is well researched, so that everyone can actually understand the topic. And also you are the one who's in charge of giving out the handouts, reporting materials, and also you have to make sure that your presentation is good and your presentation is simple yet understandable. So what I noticed basically is that the mode of learning is self-research and self-research and then discussion. So in a way, this is really advantageous because it actually trains the students to get to be used to intensive research. At the same time, it is training us to be ready for the final examination, which is the comprehensive exam, and the oral revalida or the defense. So many of the instructors actually advise us that during the reporting we should not be carrying with us or bringing with us our notes. Instead, we should be really familiar with the topic that we are discussing, because it's really prohibited if we are in the actual oral revalida or defense. The last pros that I can cite out for the program is that the MBA program of UCLM actually gives a challenging study environment for the learner. So why did I actually place this in the pros rather than in the cons? It's because I believe that in providing a challenging study environment to the learner, it can actually help the learner identify if he or she is able to actually study and succeed, or study and fail in that certain setup. So it will help the learner identify what are his strengths or what are strengths and weaknesses with regards to that certain environment. It will also it will also stimulate the learner to actually learn, because they are already challenged with the study environment. So why did I say it's a challenging study environment? It's because since it's already a master's degree, so it's really expected that the learners are the one who does the research and the learners are the one who does the discussion. So it's really challenging because we are used to the normal setup wherein there's an instructor, and then the instructors are the one who does the research and the instructors are the one who does the discussion. But for the master's degree, since we are the one who's mostly doing all the work, so that itself is already very, very challenging. So now let's talk about the cons or the disadvantages of the MBA program of UCLM. So before I actually proceed with talking about the cons or the disadvantages, let me first put a disclaimer that everything that I talk about here in my video is not representing the entire MBA class. Rather, this is these are statements relating to my personal experience as a learner or as a student of the MBA program. So first, let's proceed to the first disadvantage that I noticed is that even though the master's program is all about intensive research and self-study, the campus itself, or UCLM, has less research resource for the graduate school. So most of the books or most of the resources that stated or asked by the professors can actually be found in the graduate school library of the University of Cebu main campus. So that itself is already a disadvantage. It's because the reason why that I enrolled with UCLM, it's because it's a very convenient location for me. So that means that I will have to put extra effort if I have to go to University of Cebu main campus. Now, because some of the resources cited by the professors in our topics are only found in the graduate school library that's located in the UC main campus. So when we actually go to the graduate school library of UCLM, there's really minimal resource for the MBA program. So I think that they should really invest more or put more research materials for the MBA program into the graduate school library of UCLM. Second is that there are classes wherein classes are conducted but there are no professors most of the time. So there's this because of the mode of learning wherein the students are given their topics and we are the ones who do the research and the report. So most of the time, we are the ones who are actually conducting the class. It's a disadvantage because the students and the reporters are actually the ones who conducts the classes. So although this is also a training ground for the learners, but at the same time, I really believe that it's important that the presence of an instructor or a professor is there para so that there's a moderator and there's a let's say there's a figure of authority within the class. Because of the less attendance or less presence of professors during some of the classes, there is less interaction between the students and the professors. So if ever there are some questions, especially with the topic, because if the topic, there's no one or there's no professor who can actually answer the questions. So even if they say that we should do an intensive research about the topic, but it's really unavoidable that there will be some questions that only the professor can answer. Lastly, so it still concerns with regards to location. With the enrollment process and the payment of balances and fees, I find this really disadvantageous and really tasking because all of this should happen or should be done in the University of Cebu main campus. So the point here is that since there's already an MBA program in UCLM, so why not do the enrollment process as well as the payment of balance fees in the UCLM campus as well? So why does it have to be done in the UC main campus? So it actually defeats the purpose of students who are enrolling into the UCLM campus because the location is very convenient for them. So we have to actually go to UCLM to pay our fees and to do the enrollment process. So hopefully by next semester, they can actually cater this concern as well and then actually have the enrollment process and the payment of tuition fees in UCLM campus as well. So that was it, guys. That was my experience and my review with regards to the MBA program offered by the University of Cebu, specifically the University of Cebu Lapu-Lapu Mandawi campus. So I hope I shared a little information about the school, especially with the enrollment process and the admission process for the MBA program of the University of Cebu. And also, if you have questions or comments and suggestions, you can comment down below, and then we can also start a discussion about this topic, which is about the MBA program. Once again, thank you very much for watching this video. If you do like it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you very much and have a very nice day.